Yes, good morning, class. Thank you very much for connecting once again. This is Metric Hub YouTube channel brought to you in collaboration with International Institute of Creative Technology. Just feel free, connect, and just keep following. We are such a big institution, so without wasting any time, I want us to quickly go into a revision of paper 2. That is for November examination. This is a provincial paper anyway. Like I said, you'll never go wrong if you go and connect it to Metric Hub. We promise you to pass with a distinction and no repeats. As you can see, I said this is a revision and exam scope. So as you can see, what we are doing here is that we are revising and comprehensively also reflecting on every other related information that relates to the concept and topics that are covered in the paper here. So let's just go straight into the paper very fast. So what's happening here now is that we want to answer these questions and we want to answer our questions very fast here so that we can ensure that we cover the full paper as a whole. This is a full paper. We answer all questions. Instructions are always very important as you go to exams class. Instructions are always very important. So what's happening here is that you are given multiple choice questions. Which of the following is a component? Which of the following is a biotic component? So when we talk about biotic, we talk about something that is living. So amongst the factors that are given here, we are saying if you remember to your chapter of environment ecosystems, we have got biotic and abiotic factors. So what I'm saying is that when we talk about bio, we are talking about something that is living. So a biotic factor from the components that are given here, we are saying animals. Animals are a biotic factor from the factors that we are given here. Animals are a biotic factor. And refer again to the channel. We have got quite good videos that are presented on all these areas of concern. Please refer for further details. In the animal organism, in the animal organ that pumps the blood to the rest of the body is known as the. When you talk about pumping of blood in the body of animals, blood is pumped. We are saying the pumping process, understand the question, the pumping, the organ that pumps blood to the rest of the body. Blood is pumped by the heart. The heart pumps the blood. It is the heart that pumps the blood. But of course, we can talk about all these blood veins and blood arteries and so forth. They are basically there just to transport the blood or to circulate it. But the pumping process or the pumping function, it is done by the what? It is done by the heart. The heart pumps blood to the rest of the body. The heart pumps blood. The death of all individuals of a species in the world is known as when organisms die as a whole. When we have got a certain species, if a species dies out, if a species, we are saying it dies out as a whole, we call that what? It is called extinction. Extinction. Mortality is just death, but not as a whole. When we say mortality, mortality is just looking at uh, the number of organisms that are dying out of all that have been given birth. Speciation is just a formation of new species, which is just a process in evolution. When we talk about speciation, we are saying new species are emerging from existing ones. So therefore, we call that speciation, which is caused because of various factors, which can be geographic or which can also be reproductive isolation mechanisms. Survival, basically, you know, Musa, that when we talk about survival, we are just talking about an organism still living or being able to adapt, being able to endure various factors within a given habitat. So extinction is when organisms die or all species of an organism are no longer existing. We call that extinct. Extinction is now saying that they've all died out. But now I want you to understand again to say what is the opposite of extinction? We are saying is what is extent. Those which are still still living and existing, we are saying is called what? Extent. Extent, it means the opposite of extinct. Extinct means all died out, means all no longer existing, but still living and existing. You call that what? Extent. So please take note of that, because sometimes you would find questions comes in and says organisms that are still living are called what? We call them extent. The correct sequence of energy flow in terms of trophic levels, the energy, the correct the correct sequence of energy flow in terms of trophic levels is dash. When we look at trophic level, the energy, we are saying the energy flow, it must always start with what? It must always start with uh, we can start with the producers, or if no longer, if it is not there, we can maybe otherwise have the sun also being used by the producers. We have the primary consumers, we have the secondary consumers, and then the tertiary consumers. So in any case, the last organisms, or the last group of organisms that must exist must be tertiary consumers. So in our case, we are saying primary consumers, producers. Obviously it goes wrong because producers must be the first. Producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers. So in that case, we are saying our energy flow is quite correct, because plants must be able to have to produce the energy that is consumed or that is eaten by they are eaten by the primary consumers, the secondary consumers, and the tertiary consumers. So that is the correct flow of energy. So we can agree that the correct answer is B. A long geological period of drastic decrease in temperature of the Earth's surface and atmosphere. When we are saying geological, as to say time factor of within in a given place, where we are saying there is drastic decrease, a quick or a serious decrease in temperature of the Earth. Temperature of the Earth decreases, uh, and the atmosphere. So what we call that, number 5. Uh, so if temperature decreases, we are saying that it must be for a facility. It is known as what? The ice age. It is known as the ice age. Global warming, it is the increase of temperatures as a result of accumulation of greenhouse gases. Climate change is caused because of global warming, which is normally a variety of factors happening. It either be desertification happening. Mostly we talk about the negative effects, which is resulting in deterioration of climatic conditions. Drought, obviously, it means lack of rainfall, a prolonged period of no rainfall, which actually is also another factor, but does not describe decrease in temperature. So the correct answer is an ice age. Variety of life forms that exist on Earth. Variety of life forms that exist on Earth. Number 6, we are saying when organisms, we look at them in a variety of them, in their various groups or in their various classes, we call that biodiversity. Biodiversity explains the variety of organisms. It identifies the variety of organisms. That is biodiversity. We look at them in all classes of them. We talk about the smallest one, bacteria. Uh, we talk about the biggest ones. We talk about everything that is living in an ecosystem in their various classes. We call that biodiversity. population is just a group of organisms within a certain habitat. Ecosystem, again, we are talking about the just related the interdependence of organisms in a habitat that is an ecosystem. It identifies the flow of energy. So we have got this diagram based. We are saying question 1.7. Question 1.7 and 1.8 are based on the diagram below. So we are given the diagram here, which is actually used to explain some geological terms. So now the diagram above represents what is the diagram representing? The diagram represents the geological, it actually represents the geological scale, which I think again, I have also a good video that is explaining this geological time frames, which we can say that it marks times of periods of time through which certain species of organisms existed and how when they extincted. It actually shows the lifetime which an organism or which a group of organisms lived. So now we are saying it represents a geological time scale. It represents the timelines through which various organisms lived uh, over their lifetime. So now, uh, a pedigree is a pedigree. If you look at a pedigree diagram, it actually identifies uh, organisms, which can also be sometimes we can identify the reproduction strength, the reproduction process, and also the flow of generations, the inheritance of characteristics. In which era did the mass extinction? Uh, where did the mass extinction Cretaceous occur? Number 8. Which era do we have? The era where the mass extinction of when did it occur? So if we look at number 8, we are saying if we look, you have to go to the diagram, identify the Cretaceous, and then identify when did it occur. So when did it occur? So as you can see, we are saying the Cretaceous extinction, it is actually marking a period of time which you can see it can be shown. The Cretaceous is this one, but now we have to see it occurred during the Mesozoic era. It extincted during this period of time. It extincted during this period of time, which is showing the Mesozoic era. It extincted during the Mesozoic era, which we can see that we are able to calculate it based on the timelines, which we are saying that we mark and identify where are we looking at. So the broken dotted lines there are marking the eras, or they are identifying the extinction of uh, various timelines, which we can see there. So it is the Mesozoic era, as I've shown you there, that is shown. How do we get that? Give the correct biological term for each of the following descriptions. Write only the term next to the question number. So number 1.2, we are giving these definition of terms that we need to find, or that we need to give. A blood vessel that supplies the heart tissue with oxygen and glucose. It is called what? A blood vessel that supplies the heart with oxygen and glucose. It is actually called the coronary artery. It's called coronary. It's called coronary artery. It's the one that supplies the heart with oxygen and glucose. And then about 250 million years ago, all continents were joined to one large continent known as, we are saying before continental drift, the Earth mass was one supercontinent, which was called Pangaea. It was called Pangaea before it divided. The one mass which we had was called Pangaea class. The height of the the height of the land above sea level, we are saying that is called altitude. Altitude is measured by height above sea level. How high is a given place above sea level? So sea level is the lowest level from which we measure. So we are saying it is measured from the lowest level, which is the sea level. Therefore, it is called what? Altitude. It's called altitude. And then the part of the earth where living organisms occur and is a global sum of ecosystem. It is called a biosphere. When you look at part of the earth where living organisms occur and is a global sum of ecosystem, we are looking at it as a biome. It's called a biosphere. It is called a biosphere. Biosphere Biosphere identifies part of the earth where living organisms occur and is a global sum of, we have got various ecosystems that exist in a biosphere. And then the position of an area in relation to the sun, it is called aspect. The orientation of the land in relation to the sun is called aspect. Is called aspect. Sometimes they will tell you as orientation. So it identifies the direction to which the slope is facing. It identifies the aspect of, the concept of temperature variations in northern and southern hemisphere, which I want you to understand that when we are looking into southern hemisphere and northern hemisphere, there is different factors that affect, there is different times, or there is different, there's a variation in terms of the sun, in terms of the direction of the sun to which a slope is receiving. So I want you to understand that again. We are going to talk about that to say in southern hemisphere, uh, uh, what type of agro activities will occur in this area, and also why do we say that it is actually one interesting subject aspect. A group of food chains arranged to show how feeding of organism is connected. uh, we call that a food web. Group of food chains. The question is, it's a group of food chains. There are many of them, meaning to say there are many food chains that are there, arranged to show how feeding organisms is connected. The feeding of organisms, the connectedness, or the interconnectedness of those of these what you call uh food chains in one, we call that a food web. So it is called a food a food web. It shows multiple pathways through which energy is moved or is shared, through which organisms are interrelated. The process of finding out in the edges of rocks and fossils using radioactive elements. Uh, when you look at that, I'm sure that if you go to the channel again, class, you would identify that I have given a good video, a good lecture that explains the dating of fossils, which we talked about the relative and absolute dating. So radiometric dating is when we use radioactive elements. It's called radiometric radiometric dating. Radiometric dating. So I'm saying go to the channel again, check on fossilization. There is a good presentation that identifies concepts or explains the dating of fossils from like obsolete and relative dating. How are they different? We need to indicate each of the descriptions in column A applies to column in column 1 applies to A, only B, both, or none of the above. So let's look at this. Number 1.3, 1.3.1, to which kingdom does the lion belong? An animal. A lion is an animal. A lion is an animal. So in this case, it must belong to Animalia. Animalia. It belongs to Animalia. And then obviously, if it was plant, it goes to Plantae. Pumps the deoxygenated blood from the body to the lungs. It pumps deoxygenated blood. Oxygen, we are saying oxygen has been used, so it is deoxygenated. It doesn't have oxygen. So, what is it that pumps deoxygenated blood from the body to the lungs? It is, it is the right ventricle. Uh, Type of fossil dating wherein sediment is laid down on top of each other, and the oldest rock will be below the upper layers. That's what I was saying, that we talk about the order. We can be able to identify the age of fossils based on their layering, based on their profiling, which is quite an interesting subject. Again, I said check on the channel class, it is explained there. So when layers, we are saying statements, these are, we are talking about eroded materials that are laid off. So when they are being laid off, they appear according to timelines. The oldest ones will always be the lowest, and then the newest one or the youngest ones are found on top. So what is happening is that that is called, we call that relative dating. It is called relative dating. When we do that, identifying uh, the age of fossils based on their layering or based on their appearance, we call that uh, based from the oldest. We are saying that is called relative dating. And then 1.4, abiotic factors. Abiotic factors, we're saying that abiotic factors, it is, of course, obviously, we are saying light and temperature. It is both A and B. Both A Both A and B, temperature and light are abiotic factors. And then organism can be classified as eukaryotes and prokaryotes. So I have given this one again in the latest video of now. Check the video, just the one that is just the recent one. I have given it, which actually explains what we are talking about now. Tabulate means draw a table of differences between the two classes. Draw a table of differences between the two classes. So I'm saying, when we are saying tabulate, we can say uh, uh, the prokaryotes, and then we have got the what? The eukaryotes. So we are saying, when we are saying tabulate, it means you give these in differences like that. So one, the differences that are there, uh, I can give their genetic material in terms of the prokaryotes. We are saying DNA is not enclosed by the nuclear membrane and occurs free in the cytoplasm. DNA in this one is not enclosed. The DNA is not enclosed uh, by the nuclear membrane. It is not enclosed by nuclear membrane. So what we are saying that is that it is found free in the cytoplasm, but is free in cytoplasm. In terms of the prokaryotes, we are saying the DNA is found free in the what? Is found free in the cytoplasm. However, we are saying the DNA is enclosed in the nuclear membrane and occurs. We are saying DNA is enclosed. DNA is enclosed by the nuclear membrane. By nuclear membrane, it is enclosed by the nuclear membrane. But the prokaryotes, we are saying it is not enclosed. So there is a difference there, that it is enclosed in terms of the eukaryotes, but the prokaryotes, we are saying it is not enclosed. It is not enclosed. So what is happening is that it is enclosed by nuclear membrane. It's enclosed. It is enclosed by nuclear membrane. And then the other difference is that in terms of the prokaryotes, we are saying these are organisms with cells. These are organisms with cells with no true nuclei. They are organisms with cells with no true nuclei. They don't have a true nucleus with no true nuclei. But in terms of the eukaryotes, they actually organisms with cells that have true nuclei. Organisms, they are organisms with cells that have true nuclei. That have true nuclei. The eukaryotes, they have got a true nuclei. And then another difference that I can also give is that I can also give the difference that these organisms, number 3, they also not true organelles occur in the cytoplasm. No true They have no true organelles that organelles occur in the cytoplasm. True organelles occur in the cytoplasm. Occur in the cytoplasm. So I'm saying, when the question is saying tabulate, it wants you to give the differences. And again, do understand that the differences must be corresponding. What you give as to say this applies there, it must also be therefore saying the other one does not have that. So we are giving the differences that are according to the characteristics of this. You are giving differences according to the characteristics of this. So what you are saying is tabulate you must draw a table that will give two classes here and there. No true organelles occur in the cytoplasm in terms of the prokaryotes. And then the eukaryotes, we are saying they have got true organelles that occurs in there. And then DNA in prokaryotes are not enclosed by the nuclear membrane, but free in the cytoplasm. However, in the eukaryotes, the DNA is enclosed by the nuclear membrane. So what we are saying is we are giving differences, we are tabulating, we are comparatively analyzing the two ideas or the two classes that are given there. So we are saying 1 mark is already there to say you have managed to give a table, and then you also label the two of what you are going to discuss about or what you are going to explain of. So you get all your marks there. The diagram below shows the feeding relationships in an ecosystem. This is one query again. Again, I said check on the channel again. It is well explained. Feeding relationships in an ecosystem. Name the type of organism. Name the type of diagram that is shown. I always tell you that when we look at number of food chains that are shown that are interrelated, multiple of them, it is we are saying we need to understand that this is a food web. This is a food. This is a food web. It is a food web because we are saying there are quite a lot of lines that are showing interdependentness of this. It's called a food web. Define an ecosystem. Define an ecosystem. An ecosystem, an ecosystem, we can define it as an ecosystem. We can give it as it actually shows it's a diagram, or it is an illustration of interdependentness of organisms in their environments. It's an illustration of feeding relationships are existing in a habitat, indicating the feeding relationships, indicating the interdependentness of organisms. The interdependentness of organisms. So what we are saying is it's an illustration of feeding relationship existing in a habitat, indicating the interdependentness of organisms and also the flow of energy. The flow of energy. We are seeing that an ecosystem, it shows how organisms are surviving. We can actually give it should be in a particular area. Should be in a particular habitat, which can be either a forest. We can say it can also be the water resource. Actually identifying or consisting of all different living organisms, both biotic and also non-living organisms in the environment. So now what you need to understand is that it has got it has both biotic biotic and abiotic factors, both biotic and abiotic factors. So what you need to understand is that they should be uh, both living and non-living organisms, or they should be living and non-living factors, and showing their interdependentness. Explain the changes that may result in the ecosystem if the carrots, grass, and grains are removed from the area. If What will happen if the carrot, the grass, and grains are removed from the area? What would happen if the carrot, if we have a carrot removed, if we say carrot, grass, it is saying carrot, grasses, and grains are removed. If carrot, grass, and grains are removed, if these are removed, if we have these ones removed, what would happen? What would happen if we remove these three? So now, having saying this, it means that we have removed all the producers. If producers are, the question in other words is saying, explain what would happen if producers are removed from the what? If producers are removed, explain what would happen from the what? From the system. What we need to understand is that we are only just in understanding, or we need to understand that it is a concept of removing the producers from the what, from the food web. So in that regard, we can identify that the rabbit, mice, grasshopper, the rabbit is there, the mice, the grasshopper, and also the birds which are depending on the tree, actually will not have food and die out. They will not have food and die out. As a result, we also have the other related organisms also dying out. So what we are saying is all organisms depending, we can say all organism uh, depending on them. Like we are saying the rabbit, like rabbit, we have the locust, we have the rabbit, we have the locust, we have the bird, the mice, rabbit, locust, bird, or mice. They will die out. They will die out. And subsequently, also, we have got those which are feeding on them. Subsequently, the owls and what? And the foxes also. And owls and fox, the owl and the fox will also die. The fox, obviously, if these are no longer there, if we can say that these organisms are no longer there, if they are no longer there, if we remove these ones, it means the next level also, the fox and the owl will die as well. The foxy and the owl will die out, so there won't be any food relationship. And foxes and owls, they will die too. So all organisms in the ecosystem will die. But at first, it will start to deprive the primary consumers. The primary consumers will be affected. I'm saying the primary consumers will be affected first. These ones which are feeding or depending on vegetation, they will be worst to be affected first, affected first, affected first, and then obviously as they are dying, we also have the effect of hunger and starvation cropping onto it. Will also affect the what, the foxes and the owls. So in at last, or finally, we have all the organisms will die out, but the first to die is the rabbit, the mice, the grasshopper, and the bird. So now we have the ecosystem or the whole biome being affected. So now draw a food pyramid to show three different trophic levels of organisms in the diagram. Draw a food pyramid, three different trophic levels of organisms in the diagram. So remember that we said a food pyramid, we also have it. I did it also on the channel. I have got nice videos also that I've drawn there. I've got nice videos also which we talked about the food pyramid. I'm saying the food pyramid. I have got a nice diagram again, a nice presentation lecture that is also showing that those food pyramid, showing the food pyramid, which is also on the channel there. So I want you to understand that when we look at that, it wants us to show three different trophic levels of organisms in the system. You want to show three different trophic levels. So now what we just have to do is that we need to have at least three organisms that are shown there. So I can just take the producers, which is the grass, the carrots and grains. Primarily, I can say the first level, I have the grains. We can have the grain. We can have the grass. We can say the producers. I can say the grains, the grass. I can as well take the carrots there. So it's my producers, and then I have got the next level, which I can give to say that I can have that I need what fit on that grasshopper. I can take the grasshopper and the grasshopper and the bird, or I can take the rabbit, whatever. I can say I can take a carrot, rabbit, and mice. I can say rabbit and mice, and then obviously finally I can have the fox. I can have the fox and the owl. So now what we are saying is this is a food web. I mean a food pyramid. So this is the food pyramid. This is the food pyramid, which I'm saying we have got uh, our organisms. We can say our trophic levels are given there. 1, 2, 3. We have got the grassy, grains, carrot. So in other words, you just need to be able to identify items that you can put there to say that they fall into those categories, and then make a simple schematic diagram to show any three possible food chains. Show, just a schematic diagram to show, make a schematic diagram, any three possible food chains from the diagram. So I can say that from here I can do this. I can say I have got the grain. If I can see here, the grain, I have the grain. I have got one. I have the grain. I have the mice, I have the owl. The owl can also be found there. Any three possible food chains. I can also take the grassy. I have the mice, the rabbit. I have the fox. I can also take the carrot. I have the carrot here. The carrot, I have the carrot, the rabbit, and the fox. Carrot, rabbit, and the fox. So we are saying these are possible food chains that can be found in this case. We can have these three possible food chains that can be found there. We are saying make according to the food web that we have drawn, choose a flow of energy that can appear, that can be correct in that case. So that's how it is. And then we are given the structure of the heart here, and then we are given the structure, the structure of a heart, and then the question is saying identify A, B, C. We are given the structure of the heart, identify structures A, B, C. A is actually showing. We are saying A. Our A is here. It is showing that is the iota. We have the iota here. A, B. B is the B actually, as you can see at B there, this is the B scab. The bi is the valve. And then ABC, which is the left ventricle, obviously C is the left ventricle. So we are saying the structure of the heart class, you should just go to class. You should go to exam, being able to label the structure of the heart, being able to identify the parts, the components of a heart. You should be able to do that. You should be able to do and label that. And then give a letter and name of the part that A receives the blood from the superior vena cava, the letter and name. So it is say the letter and name that receives the blood from the vena cava. Uh, we are saying the letter and name of the part that receives the blood from the superior vena cava. So it should be the right atrium, which is uh, the right atrium, which is what? Which is F. It receives the blood. It receives the blood from the superior vena cava. So we are saying it is what? F, which is the right atrium. And then B, prevent backflow of blood from the right ventricle into the right atrium. What prevent the flow of blood? Uh, we are saying prevent the flow of blood, backflow. We are saying backflow of blood from the right ventricle into the right atrium. This is actually seen. As you can see that we can see again, we can agree that it is the what is the Triscap valve, which is what the backflow of blood is prevented here. It actually locks and prevents the backflow of blood, which is also E. So it is E. We are saying it is E, which represents that is, it prevents the backflow of blood. from the right ventricle into the right atrium. Explain why the wall of C is thicker than that of D. Explain why the wall of C, why the wall of C is why the wall of C. Explain why C is thicker than what than D. The wall of C is thicker than what than that of D. So what we are saying is that YC has got a thicker wall than D. So what we need to understand is that one uh, C actually it pumps blood over the long distance of C pumps C it pumps blood over a longer distance. It pumps blood over a long distance, which we are saying to all body parts. It pumps blood to longer distance, which is all body parts. In other words, all parts of the body, all parts of the body, whereas D actually pumps blood over a short distance. D, it only pumps blood to the lungs. D, as you can see, our D, it pumps blood only to the lungs, whereas D pumps blood over a short distance. It pumps blood over a short distance, which is, like I said, that it only pumps to the what? Over a short distance, which actually, it that is what, if you see D pumps blood to the lungs only. It pumps, D pumps blood to the lungs only, shorter distance. That is to the lungs only. So there is a need of pumping more. I mean, we are saying there is strong pumping that takes place on C, whereby that the blood must be pumped to say, we are saying the left ventricle, it actually, we are saying there is supposed to be strong pumping of blood to the whole parts of the body, whereas D, it can only pump to the what? To the lungs. So that is why the thickness of the walls is not the same. And then explain the meaning of a double closed circulatory system. What is a double closed circulatory system? Number 4, what we are saying is that double closed circulatory system, it actually identifies that the heart pumps the blood first to the lungs and also to the rest of the body through the blood vessels. Heart pumps blood it pumps blood the heart pumps blood firstly, pumps blood to the lungs first, and to the rest of the body, through the blood vessels. So what we are saying is heart pumps blood to the lungs first and to the rest of the body through blood vessels. So that is the meaning of double double closed circulatory system. It is double, meaning to say double means what? Means twice. It means twice. Where is the twice thing? We are saying twice coming from saying heart pumps blood to the lungs and to the rest of the body through the what? Through the blood vessels. And then describe the heart events of cardiac muscle during general distal. Number 5, one, we are saying during, the question is saying during general. That is our part during general distal. So now what we need to understand is that the heart actually, we are saying we can talk about the heart relaxes. The heart relaxes. What we need to understand is that during general distal, the heart relaxes, and then deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium, causing deoxygenated blood to enter enters the right atrium, enter right atrium. What happens is that from the inferior, we are saying it enters blood enters from the right atrium to the inferior and what? In superior vena cava. It is inferior and superior vena cava. And then what we need to understand, and then oxygenated blood enters the left atrium. Oxygenated blood it actually enters the left atrium. Oxygenated blood enters the left atrium class from the pulmonary vein. That is one thing that we should understand again. So we have got our valves, which we say that the you have the triscape and the biscape. The valves actually are open. The valve must be open so that blood also moves to the right ventricles. Are opening. Why are they opening? So that blood also moves into the ventricles. That is what is happening there. So what you are asked here is that the events of cardiac cycle during general gesture, you need to understand these movements or these expressions that the heart relaxes, causing deoxygenated blood to enter the right atrium from the inferior and superior vena cava, and then oxygenated blood enters from the right atrium, enters the right atrium from the what, from the pulmonary vein, and then our valves are open so that blood moves into the ventricles, that is, or it enters into the ventricles, that is the events which occurs during a general distal. That is what happens there. And then we have got a plant commonly known as the pine tree, a plant commonly known as a pine tree, classified as a plantae. It is also Preparatory, a gymnosperma. I could also have the coniferias, the panicae, and also we have got the pinus, and also the pantarosa. That is a plant classification. So let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are saying these are the various classifications that can be found there. So give the name, give the name of the scientist and the type of system you use to name the organisms using the genus and the species. We are saying the name of the scientist, who and the type of system that you used to name. I'm sure go also on the latest video, which is there, of term 4. It actually identifies the two kingdom, the four kingdom species and so forth, which we are talking about, which I was talking about, the binomial system. I've been explaining that cow is the scientist who did this. I also even made some highlights that questions, when they come, they would want you to know who did that, and otherwise again what classification system, when I also even explained to say what is classification. So please understand that it is car, it is Carolina Linnaeus, and then we're talking about the binomial system. We use the binomial system, and then to which kingdom, order, and family does the pine tree belong? Which kingdom, order does the pine tree belong? So what you need to understand is that you need to say the genus must, we are saying you must write the genus written first letter in caps, and also you should also know that in the species and first letter small. So now what we are saying is that the pine tree, it belongs to, uh, the pine tree, it belongs to the pinus. It actually belongs to pinus ponderosa. Pinus ponderosa. It actually, I'm saying the kingdom which it belongs to. So we can say that one, the kingdom, it belongs to the plantae, as you can see here. It belongs to the plantae kingdom. It belongs to the plantae kingdom. So we are saying the kingdom is actually the plantae. It belongs to the plantae kingdom. And then order, the order it belongs to, we are saying that it belongs to conferrer. It belongs to the conferers. It belongs to the conferers. Then the family, obviously, if you look at this family, it belongs to the uh, it actually belongs to the Panacea. The family, it is the family. The family, it is what? The Panacea. It's saying family, it is the Pina, the Panacea is the family. That is it. And then write this, write the name, write this, the scientific name of the pina tree, the pine tree. What is the scientific name of the pine tree? The scientific name, we say that it belongs to the Pinus ponderosa. It belongs to the Pinus ponderosa. This is the actually we are saying the scientific name. The scientific name, we're saying that it belongs to the what? It belongs to the Pinus. It belongs to the Pinus ponderosa. So I was saying that you need to know that when you are writing this, you must know that the genus first letter is written in caps and then the species in small letter. So the Pinus, we are saying P is the capital letter, and also the Ponderosa is the small letter, first letter P. So that is one thing that you should know. That is the first. That's one thing that you should know there. And then the five kingdoms system is the most common classification system that was proposed by Robert Whittaker in 1969 years. Also refer to our channel for this one. It is also on our channel, this one. So what is he saying? Uh, uh, in light with the above statement, give five kingdoms that were proposed by Robert Whittaker. He actually identified five kingdom species, which he said that we have got the Monera. He said that we have got we also have the Monera. We have got the Plantae. We have the Animalia. We have got the fungi, and obviously the last one, which is there, is the protist. So according to Whitaker, he identified five kingdom. He identified five kingdom species, which are these. What I'm saying again, go to the channel, the latest 2020, term 4 video. It has got this, which explains the classification system. And then read the extract. Cape Floral Kingdom is the smallest of the world's floral kingdoms. It is the home of to more endemic and indigenous plants than in any other regions in South Africa. Approximately 70% of the 9,000 plant species in this area are found nowhere else in the world. The vegetation is in this biome, which is mostly small bushes grows in nutrient poor soils. They also survive the long dry summer conditions as well as frequent fires. The flora of the Cape is threatened, amongst others, by habitat destruction by humans. Already, numerous species are extinct from the biome. Numerous species are extinct from the biome, hence, its conservation is national conservation priority. Whence, therefore, we can say it's an endangered one. In a bid to save this biome, there are several projects aiming at encouraging responsible travel to natural areas in order to conserve the environment as well as improving the well-being of local communities. That's the comprehension. So the question is saying, the question wants us to say that what does the endemic species mean? What does the endemic species mean? So we are saying that it is the home of endemic species. So endemic meaning to say that plant and animal species that are found in one region and nowhere else in the world. So we are saying they are found in specific that one region and nowhere in the world, which is actually what we mean by what? By endemic species. It means they are found, they occur in one region and nowhere else in the world. Plant and animal species. Plant and animal species that are found in one region. They are found in one region and nowhere else in the world. It means within a specific locality. That is, or we can say indigenously there, not everywhere else or not anywhere else in the world. So we are finding them only there. That is what we call by endemic. And then the question is saying, which biome is discussed by the extract? Which biome is discussed by the extract? If we read through this extract, I'm saying if you read through this extract, also refer to the channel. There is also what you call nice videos that are presented on this one. So on types of biomes and their classification, I mean their characteristics. So if we read through, we can identify that the description explains the characteristics, explain the fynbos. It actually explains the fynbos biome. It actually identifies the fynbos biome. And then what did the conservation group do in order to save this biome? We also have that it have got we have got the conservation group do in order to save this. We are told about the national intervention. We are told about the national intervention, which is that uh, there is there is to conserve it is national conservation. Already numerous species are extinct. There are several projects aiming at encouraging responsible travel to natural areas in order to conserve the environment. So we are saying our answer is there that there are several projects that are encouraging responsible travel to natural areas. So initiative of several projects to encourage responsible travel, to encourage responsible traveling, encouraging responsible traveling to natural areas. So as to conserve natural environment. To conserve natural environment, that is one thing that we see the initiative of several projects to encourage responsible traveling to natural areas so as to conserve natural environment is what is being done. Calculate the total number of species that are endemic to this biome. Show your working. Calculate the number of biome that are endemic to this biome. Calculate the number of biomes. We are saying approximately 70% of the 9,000 plant species in this area are found nowhere else in the world. So we are saying 70% of 9,000 is what we are asked to calculate. We are asked to calculate, we are going to use the 70% of 9,000 in order for us to get this. So we are saying 70% of 9,000 is what we are going to calculate here. So if we can calculate, put it through the calculator, we can see that this can give us 6,300 species. 6,300 species. And then describe the type of climate and vegetation found in this biome. Describe the type of climate and vegetation that is found in there. So 2.3.5. So, but anyway, I guess you see what we are saying, because it's given that approximately 70% of the 9,000 is what we are going to calculate there. So that's what we are going to calculate. That's what we can do there. That's what is asked of us. So in terms of 2.3.5, describe the type of climate and vegetation found in this one. So obviously, I'm saying in terms of the description, you can as well just go on the channel, look on the explanation of the Finbos biome. You just need to explain the Finbos biome, which we are saying that you can as well find it in the essay there, that the vegetation is given. We are given that the vegetation is mostly small bushes and grows in what? In nutrient poor soils. We are given that it is actually small bushes that grow, small bushes that grow nutrient poor soils, survive very dry conditions as well as frequent fires. You understand? So we are saying the answers are in there. Anyway, vegetation is mostly small bushes. Is mostly small bushes and then growing in nutrient nutrient growing in nutrient poor soils. That is given there. What about the climate? Obviously, we are given again that uh, there is also this, they survive very long dry summer conditions as well as frequent fires. Surviving long dry summers, long dry summers, long dry summer, and frequent fires. It is given in the essay that these are the conditions that are just given there. We are not thinking of anything. We are just copying and pasting what is in the context or in the comprehension. The comprehension is giving that these are points that which are given in the comprehension there. And then study the table below shows the decay of carbon 14 over time. So this is what is shown there. Years from present, number of lives elapsed, uh, number of half-lives elapsed, percentage of original remaining. So we are given this. So now the question is saying, years of from the present, and then we are looking at that to say that we said we can do calculate the age of fossils based on that, which we are saying name one type of method used to determine the age of fossil rather than the carbon rate, this carbon dating. So we said we have got what is called relative dating. Relative dating is used there, and then the next question is saying, what is this? Next question is saying, identify the value of A, identify the value of A and B, identify the values of A and B. So we're saying, if you look at this, A,